Triumph Thunderbird 1600. Look at that thing. Just shy of 700 pounds of privateer steel. What would make a sport bike guy get so absolutely enamored with a cruiser? Well, let's sit down and chat about it. All right, guys. So this is my 2013 Triumph Thunderbird 1600. Now, I was really just looking for a motorcycle that my wife and I could enjoy, just hop on the thing and go for a cruise. Not really something that was going to be ultra flashy, but I wanted something that was good looking, and I wanted something that was a little bit of a break from the norm. Being a Triumph fan already, I started looking into whatever offerings I could find from a brand that I thought that I had some familiarity with. And you know, I had forgotten that this thing of beauty even existed. And so to give you some specs, 1600 cc's from the factory, just shy of 90 horsepower and just shy of 110 foot-pounds of torque. But here's the thing. This engine makes power the way that a dump truck engine makes power. And I'm not saying that for effect. I think peak torque is somewhere around 2,700 RPM. And to be fair, guys, the show's over before 5,000 RPM. The engine has got the power band of an old muscle car. And well, the thing is that I find myself riding it in the same way that you might find yourself driving an old, mild yet relatively bumpy, big block old muscle car. You just find yourself really into the throttle a lot and just getting oofed by this massive wave of torque that is just always there for the asking. And so, because I've had a chance to spend some time with this bike, and admittedly, I'm not cruiser guy. This, again, was really more for my wife and I to enjoy, but I gotta be honest, fellas, this thing, I find myself more and more attracted to it in a weird way. You know, it's one of those things where it started out more as a curiosity, but I just find myself becoming more inclined to grab the keys to the T-Bird to take it for a spin. And initially it had more to do with getting the settings right, getting the bars angled just like I like them. Well, at least that's really all I had to do, but I would find that as my excuse just to get the thing out on the road and give it a rip. And again, I can't say that I'm really a convert just yet. Going from sport bikes to cruisers is actually quite a bit of a, well, it's definitely a major difference in terms of riding style and expectations in terms of performance. Again, the aforementioned power band of this bike does not lend it to, you know, high speed cruising, say 100, 110 miles an hour. But I find myself riding this thing kind of like a sport bike. I mean, just taking a look at it, twin disc up front, a monster rear disc out back, lots of spare torque, at least a lot of torque reserve, if you will. I find myself riding this thing like it's a sport bike. It's weirdly nimble for something as big as it is. And so because of that, again, it's like knowing a language, but this is a dialect that you're just not familiar with. And I think some of you guys may be able to maybe relate, or at least you may go, I know what you're saying now, because you have, say, a Thunderbird or one of the Harley Davidsons that's of the same type of, you know, cruiser, like that muscle power cruiser type of a vibe. That's what this bike really does give me. And so, you know, it's really kind of neat being able to experience this bike, mainly because, again, it's just such foreign territory. But when I get on this thing, it's such a riot. And you know, the idea of, well, it's not something you would cruise along at maybe 90 or 100 miles an hour, but this tank will go well into triple digit speeds. Ask me how I know. And it's one of those things where it's like, will it go 90? It'll go 90 easily. Will it go 100? Roll into the throttle? And now it's going 100, and Now it's going 105, and it just keeps thundering its way to, I guess, whatever speed it would finally top out at, mainly because of aerodynamics and the fact that it really starts to run into that brick wall of the rider at an earlier speed than, of course, a sport bike would, with a fairing and being tucked down and all of that. But I just didn't expect this level of performance out of something like this, both in terms of just acceleration, but also in terms of handling. Again, I've got to be careful with this thing. I don't need to be grinding pegs going around some of the sweepers that I find myself getting a little bit aggressive with on this bike. So, guys, be patient with me. I'm not exactly a convert just yet, but the more I'm around this Triumph Thunderbird, the more I kind of wish Triumph would bring something like this bike back. I think the last time that this bike was in production might have been around 2016-ish. Forgive me if I don't get the year right, but it's been a hot minute since, well, at least Triumph had something like this T-Bird back here. And, well, it's a shame that I guess more people don't find themselves really wanting to get into these types of bikes. I mean, I know that they kind of had their era, if you will, but I tell you what, I might be late to the party, but I'm here with bells on. So guys, hopefully, again, y'all can be patient with me. I'm going to be bringing you a little bit of content with this bike, and I might seem a little bit overly exuberant about it, but it's just because I'm having so much fun with a platform that I've never been attracted to at all. It's not that I haven't been around Harley Davidsons. In fact, one of my first experiences with riding a street bike, at least for any appreciable amount of time, several years as a matter of fact, was with a Harley Davidson 1200 Sportster. So that kind of would prepare me, I guess, for cruiser life, but I just really didn't take to it at the time. But now, I don't know, maybe, seasons and reasons and all of that. But, with the off-road pipe that's on this bike, it's going to be getting the tune. It's going to be a little bit over 90 horsepower once it's all said and done at the flywheel. And, well, just the other side of 115 pound-feet of torque once again, everything's wrapped up. And, well, she's already a little bit better than that with the off-road pipe that's on it. Now it sounds amazing, and guys, I gotta admit, I'm kind of becoming a sucker for the way that these big twins sound. This is a 270-degree parallel twin, and it's got that awesome just bang bang about the way that it hits. It just feels so good to just get this thing, crack open the throttle, and find myself rowing through the gears. And then looking down at the speedometer, and I'm going speeds that a little bit faster than I had initially anticipated. So again, fun surprises, pleasantly just impressed by the way that this bike has been able to get me more into cruisers, but more to the point, be fun. And that's something that I never ever thought that I would say about a bike that looks anything like that. Calypso blue and black. I don't know that I'd have it any other way. And with that, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Adios.